Good afternoon, everybody. We are live for today's session. I'll just get all of my screen sorted out and then we're ready to go. Thank you for joining me. So today we're going to be looking at selling your expertise on LinkedIn. Just checking that everybody can hear me. All the gadgets are working, which is a good sign. So it's great to be here on a Friday. We're going to get all the gadgets are working. And we're going to talk about selling your expertise on LinkedIn, how to do it, what some of the problems are with doing it, and some of the big mistakes, of course, and then process. How do you actually move forward from today? So if you're joining me, I will start in a couple of minutes' time. Just want to make sure that all the tech's working, everybody finds us okay, because it's important. You know, if you've spent years building your skill set, your knowledge, you've got experience in whatever topic area you are, whether you work for a large corporate or you're a solopreneur, you've got an experience and you've got value you can deliver to clients. And I know from doing this for a long time that one of the biggest struggles people have is actually getting that across on LinkedIn, letting people see, actually, I've got something valuable to give. And that's what we're really going to look at. How do we do that? How do we do that in a space like LinkedIn? So if you're joining me, let me just do a little intro to myself so you know who I am. So I'm Dean. I'm the founder of Maverick, and I started Maverick myself. I was really good at marketing, really good at understanding messaging and marketing and sales process. And so I started to help other people. Maybe I'll share my screen and you can see what I'm doing. So I started selling my expertise on LinkedIn years and years ago, before the LinkedIn thing was a thing. I was selling my own expertise on LinkedIn. And so that's what I've done basically for all of my career, is used digital channels, uh, print channels to actually sell and market. And my LinkedIn took off. Now, took off and has really generated me. It does about $1 million, £750,000 a year of revenue and leads. Over the 6 years, I've done 125,000 leads, and I can tell you a little secret: very few leads come from going viral. So, this is me, this is what I do. I teach people, guide people, help people do it, and part of my business helps people implement this, whether it be a large corporate and sales team or it is a small business owner. So, I know what it's like to have to start from scratch on LinkedIn. I know what it's like to have to build a business from scratch on LinkedIn. And I'm going to share with you today some of my personal things that have happened with me, and but also some of the principles of what works. So let's just dig into this and get going. So in the next 45 minutes, my intention for you guys watching me today is to turn LinkedIn into a predictable client pipeline for your expertise. That's what I'm trying to show you and help you see. How do we use all these buttons and all these things to actually get a result? And that's what you need to expect from this session. And feel free to message me afterwards. I've got a quiz for you at the end of the session that's going to help you really understand which is the best way to approach it for you. LinkedIn is not a one size fits all. What works for one person won't work for another. So you've got to find the way that works for you. I'm going to give you a way to do that at the end of the session. So why should you build your export authority on LinkedIn? Well, think about it. I know this is a no-brainer, but why should you do it? Well, think about it. If you're used to building, let's say, and this was common for me, word of mouth. Get a lot of word of mouth referrals, which is fantastic, brilliant, but you can't build a business on it because you never know when they're coming. You're relying on somebody else to do the selling for you, and you never really know when that's going to happen. So you can't really build a pipeline. You know, it comes when it comes and it doesn't when it doesn't. So you want people to choose to work with you. That's number one. You want to make it easier, and you want to set yourself up so that people want to work with you. You're the preferred choice, the preference. So you want to create market preference towards you. That's a no-brainer. Of course, I want that. You want that. That's what I live by and die by. But then you need the important bit, a flow of leads. Right? Now, I talk about a flow of leads. Why should you? Because it's not enough to get one lead every blue moon. You need a flow because not every lead's going to convert. Not every lead's going to convert when you need them to convert. And so you need a flow because there will be people at all different stages. And sometimes the red hot opportunities actually end up taking 9 months to convert because of budgets and restructures and right sizing, as they call it these days in some of the large orgs. So you want a flow of opportunity so that you're not going, oh no, there's a gap. So you need a flow of leads that supports not just how much money and revenue you need to make next month, but the month after, the month after, the month after. So you need a system to do that so that you don't have inconsistencies, especially if you're a small business. If you're a small business, actually, it doesn't take much of a drop to be really in tricky waters. And of course, having that positioning on LinkedIn obviously allows you access to the world. Now, we don't want to do business with the entire world, but it does mean more people know we exist. It does mean people know us. We're building trust up front, which is what your referral business would give you. We're building trust up front so that when we get a lead, when we get a conversation, when somebody asks us about how we can help them, actually it's higher to convert. So myself and Dave were talking about this with Curtis on our team today. We had a little bit of a catch up this morning because I've been in Cardiff for 2 days. And we talked about how I convert better because a lot of people have seen me speak at events. A lot of people have been to events where I'm the speaker, whether it be a main stage, second stage, whatever it is, a keynote, whatever. So my conversion rate when I get an inquiry is very, very high because the trust is high. And so on LinkedIn, one of the reasons I do these events is building huge trust up front, and it makes it easier for me to get leads and clients in the future. It's part of my system. So if you build your expert authority on LinkedIn, you can actually improve your conversion rate, and you have to do less cajoling, less arm twisting, less, sales persuasiveness stuff to actually close a deal. So that's the case of why you should do it. But just showing up on LinkedIn and hoping for the best is not the approach. So why do most people, and I'll tell you this honestly, it's hard to get LinkedIn right. Not because LinkedIn's hard, but because fundamentally we have to understand how to sell ourselves on LinkedIn. It's not just a case of going on LinkedIn and having a go. We have to understand and almost treat LinkedIn like a completely new market. We almost have to hang up our experience of getting clients from the past and start fresh. Now, that might sound scary, and it can be a little scary, but you've got unlimited scope on LinkedIn. Once you get over that hurdle of repositioning and getting yourself in the right place, you've got unlimited scope. You've got access to the entire planet, or at least 1.3 billion of them. So you have more access to your target market on LinkedIn than anything else you can do outside of paid ads. There's no other way you can get access to your target market at that scale, in person, on the phone, on email. It's impossible to have that kind of scale. But why do experts struggle? And I want to break this down because it's really important. When somebody decides to work with me, whether that be on our one-to-one or our accelerator, these are the first hurdles we have to get over. Now, I'm not selling LinkedIn very well here because I'm telling you these are the hard bits. Nobody will tell you these are the hard bits. They'll tell you if you just post and go viral, you'll be full of clients, which is total nonsense. If you understand that these are the hard bits, these are not LinkedIn issues. These are business issues. And I'm going to talk about them for a couple of minutes before we move on because they're so important. So the first one is the referral trap. Now, I love referrals. They are the best leads. And if I could get 10 times more referrals, I would. But they are also quite destructive. Referrals are destructive. You heard me right, and I'll tell you why. Referrals are pre-sold leads. They're pre-sold by a past client or a contact of yours who's vouching for you. If that's what you're used to, you've had an easy ride. You've had an easy ride. By that, I mean somebody else has used their reputation, used their credibility, used their experience of working with you to sell for you. On LinkedIn, that hasn't happened. You're using your credibility. You're using your experience. You're using your track record to sell for you. You're doing that work. And so why is this a problem? It's a problem because if you think, oh, if I just do what I've been doing on LinkedIn, I'll get clients. But in effect, you've never had to sell in a competitive environment. You've never had to sell and market yourself in a competitive environment. It's the number one problem that I work with clients one-to-one. If you've come out of, say, corporate and you've started your own business and you've relied on your network of contacts and that's starting to dry up a little bit, you've been so used to selling on, it might not feel this way, but on easy mode compared to most people, that you've never put the skills in place, the processes in place. You've never developed the way you onboard a client to work in a more competitive environment where you haven't got that somebody vouching for you. So what that means is and let me give you an example of this. When you get a lead, they slip through your fingers because you're not handling the lead right. Whereas pre-sold, it's easy. When you get on a call, when you get a referral and you go on a call, you just have to explain what you do because somebody else has told you how valuable it is. You've got to show the value in the call. When you put in a proposal, your proposals go flat and dead and never convert because you've not structured the proposal to reinforce the value. Somebody else has done all that work for you beforehand. And so in effect, you're order taking. Now that's a derogatory term in sales. If you're called if you're a salesperson and you're called an order taker, it says basically you just close things that would close anyway because somebody else has done the work. So these are the challenges. This is the referral thing. It's a big thing. So if you've got, you want to build your business, you can't rely on referrals because they're unpredictable. So you have to put these processes and skills in place. Otherwise, what will happen is you will be wondering, why am I not closing things? And I used to. It's not because anything's gone wrong with your business. So it's not because people don't need what you sell. It's because fundamentally you have been used to a way of selling that is different on LinkedIn. Doesn't mean you have to be pushy. Doesn't mean you have to be aggressive, but you have to do it differently. It's a different model. You don't get that, you will struggle because you'll try and replicate a referral model on LinkedIn and it won't work. The next problem is the perspective trap. And the perspective trap is that if you're a subject matter expert and you've got experience, you have a tendency, and I do this too, I have a tendency of thinking about the client's situation from my perspective, not from theirs. And what does this look like? It looks like I'll talk to them about root cause issues, but they are motivated to solve the surface level issues that they see. So people come to me and they say, Dean, I want to get clients on LinkedIn, and I can help people get clients. That's what I do. But fundamentally, when I sit down with somebody and go, So, okay, let's look at what's going on in your business so we can figure out how we get you more clients and we get you more clients more efficiently. When I look at their business, I realize their message is wrong, their process is wrong, and that's what's ultimately wrong. It's not a LinkedIn thing. Most people struggling on LinkedIn to actually get leads and clients, it has nothing to do with LinkedIn. It's ultimately a message and a process issue. Most of the time, what they do is valuable and, they are credible. All of the good pillars are in place, but how that's messaged and put together in an order just is wrong. So I know in my scenario that most people struggling to get clients on LinkedIn, there's a problem with their message and there's a problem with their process, but they just want leads. So if I go, "Do you know, I can help you build a powerful message on LinkedIn," people go, "Yeah, yeah, no, Dean, I want leads." And so that disconnect between what I see as the problem and what they feel is the problem is the disconnect. And so the message doesn't land. So I know most of the time, the people who are struggling on LinkedIn, there's a message problem. They don't know that. If they knew that, they would have fixed it by now. What they're doing is trying to fix a lead generation issue. They're looking for tactics. And so they go, "Oh, I'll do a lead magnet." They design a lead magnet. They try and put it out. Nobody downloads it. They don't think they think, "Oh, LinkedIn doesn't work." No, no. They're looking at the external issues and trying to solve the external issues when actually we know they're trying to solve the surface level issues when actually the real problem is deeper than that. So that's the perspective trap, is that as a subject matter expert, you're looking at it from the outside in, but your target audience are looking at it from the inside out, and so they can't get past the small tactical problems day to day that they're seeing. So if you approach LinkedIn talking about the big issues, the root cause issues, it will go over the majority of your audience's heads. They will not get it. They will not see the value in it because they are trying to solve the surface level issues. So that's the big one. And then the other bit that fails is people trying lots of different things. Now, later on, I'm going to show you a couple of things about different ways to get leads. I'm going to recommend some to you, but I'm going to give you a quiz and ask you to do the quiz to find out the best way for you. But ultimately, and I'm just going to say this, this is my experience. Most people tackling LinkedIn, the first thing they do will fail. First thing they'll do is fail. When I started LinkedIn, I tried lots of stuff and a lot of it didn't work. And I had to go through and figure out what worked, what didn't work, and tweak, 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 dial it in. Yeah. I didn't just think, and this is just the way I work because I've years of experience doing what I do in marketing. I went, we just need to crack this thing. We know that LinkedIn is a great channel. So what do we need to do? What are we missing? What do we need to fix? How do we fix it? And I went over and over and over. First time I did an event, nobody came. Nobody came. So I had a day off. Now, 600 people signed up for one because I worked out what works, what doesn't. And so the process is you need a system to build trust and convert it, but you cannot, it's not about finding a magical system. And I'm probably being a bit patronizing here, so sorry if I am. It's not about finding a magical system. It's about choosing a system that fits with you and then dialing it in. So the first time it might fail. Second time it might fail. It doesn't mean you abandon it. Doesn't mean you abandon it. If you look at some of the big tech companies that have created amazing inventions, what they have done is spend a few years, in their case, it doesn't take you a few years on LinkedIn, tinkering and building and failing. You know, look at SpaceX. How many rockets did they have to put up before they cracked it? Yeah. It's that same concept of we're having a go, figuring a few things, see where the chinks are, see where the points of failure are, fix those and improve it. And then it's rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And many people will go, I'll try this. Oh, I've tried it 3 times or once, ditch it, next one. Oh, that ditch it, next one, ditch it, next one. And so you end up just playing at it. I'll show you what I do later, and you'll see I just do the same things over and over and over again, over and over and over again. So let's just think about this now. Let's move into how do we build this? How do we build it? And one of the key pillars of this whole thing is the positioning of you need to make, the shift you've got to make. So if you're not happy with the number of leads that you're getting, the number of clients that you're winning, if you're not happy with that right now and you think it should be more, you think you can handle more, you think your business can stand and grow more, then you need to make this shift in positioning. And I'm going to tell you some hard truths now. You won't get this from most content creators. They'd rather give you, tell you everything's wonderful, but and promise you the earth, and then not be around when you have to implement it. I stick around when you have to do this stuff, when it's messy and it's tough and it's confusing. So we have to understand how LinkedIn has changed, because that's so important. Because if you're used to selling by in person, if you're used to selling through referrals, that is totally different. So LinkedIn 2015 was a completely different place. LinkedIn in 2026 is far more, a lot more noise. There's so much stuff going on LinkedIn. So many distractions, so many shiny objects, but there's a lot of people on LinkedIn. 1.3 billion, which is what? Nearly 15% of the population, is it? Something like that? 15% of the population is on LinkedIn, right? So that's brilliant. Our audience is there, right? But there's a lot of stuff going on. It's noisy and it's busy. We've also got to understand that there are algorithms in the way, and we have to think about how we optimize what we're doing for those algorithms. That does not mean chasing it. We just have to be aware that we're not operating in a clean environment. It is a filtered environment. So we have to understand not how it works, but we have to understand that we're operating in this space. What does an algorithm want? The algorithm wants people to pay attention. If you are holding the attention of your target audience, if you are engaging your target audience, the algorithm will give you more. If you are not engaging your target audience, the algorithm will give you less. It's just the way it works. And so we have to think about, if we want to convert, we have to think about, how do we keep the attention of our ideal clients? That is not by putting, our lunch up on LinkedIn. That is not by putting sexy selfies on LinkedIn. I'm sure you're not doing that, but it is a trend on LinkedIn. We also have to understand that nobody logs into LinkedIn thinking, I want to buy something. Nobody's even thinking that. So for them, buying from you is something that happens because they were on LinkedIn. They randomly stumble across you. They get some value from you. So we have to understand that people are scrolling and they don't actually know why they're scrolling. And it's a more relationship driven platform. So it's trust up front. And then the big one you have to remember, and this is where many subject matter experts fall, is we are operating in a short attention span zone. Not in its entirety, but for the most part, we have a few seconds to grab people's attention. So it's even more important that our audience see what's in it for them than ever before. If they cannot see value in giving you 10 seconds, 20 seconds of their time, our message is off. And that, don't get me wrong, I don't get it right all the time. It's hard to get it right all the time. But on the whole, you have to hit the right message because people will only pay attention if they see a benefit for them immediately. Not, this is beneficial to them, but they don't know it. And that's where most experts fall. They go, this is the most important thing. I know this will change them. I know this will make a difference. They don't. They don't. And so you have to think about what are they prioritizing and how does that factor into your messaging? But we are fundamentally operating in a very short attention span zone. And if you've not adapted to that, you will find it very tough. So you have to show your value to them in seconds. Seconds. Now, of course, if they see value, they'll hang around a bit longer. And if they hang around a bit longer, the algorithm will help you. If they don't hang around long enough, it won't help you. So I'm going to ask you a question. You don't need to, you can comment the answer, but I want you to think about this question because this is not a LinkedIn question. This is a business question, right? So £25,000, $25,000. Why would somebody pay you $25,000 or pounds, whichever you want to use? Why would they pay it to you? Why would they pay it to you? I want you to think about that because it does not matter. Like I sell and help people get clients. So there's more of a direct monetary gain to working with me than perhaps if you're, um, a sustainability consultant or something like that, right? Or, cyber security. But ultimately, how much you charge $25,000. If you were charging me $25,000 as a business owner, I'd be going, so what do I get for that $25,000? And you tell me you get this, 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 this. Even if they're intangibles, which in many cases with experts and people, consultants and things, it is intangibles. I am going to stack that up against business outcome. I am going to stack whatever you sell me for $25,000 or pounds. I'm going to stack it up against a business outcome. It does not matter what it is. I'm going to stack it up against a result, an end result. And if I cannot see, roughly speaking, £250,000 worth or $250,000 worth of value, improvement, benefit, I'm not buying. I'm not buying. You wouldn't buy either. So you've got to think about not just, oh, what do I do? And stack up, is it worth £25,000 in terms of effort? If my hourly rate's £150 an hour, $150 an hour, or $200 an hour, well, it's 20 hours of work, so it's worth this much. No. Ultimately, I have to take responsibility for conveying to you, or you have to take responsibility for conveying to me, not just what I get for the $25,000 or pounds, but the improvement, the benefit it's going to have to me, my business. How will I be different? How will my world change? How will my business change? How will my revenue change? How will that change as a result of this? If you cannot do that, the value will struggle. You will struggle to convert because everything that we sell is stacked up against the outcome. And if that outcome isn't worth $25,000 or pounds, I'm not paying. If you're selling to me, it's your responsibility to land that with me. It's not my responsibility to read and figure it out. It's not my responsibility to join the dots to figure out why you're worth $25,000. That's your responsibility. And when we're operating in a split second space, we have to get really clear on what that is. What is it? if somebody hires you right now, and whatever your fee is, doesn't matter what your fee is, but you know roughly in your head what your price is. Whoever you present that price to is going to take in whatever you propose, and they're going to go and look at their business and go, money, money out, spending out or not. They will weigh up, should I keep the money or spend the money? Keep the money or spend the money? They will make that decision. And if they say, I'll spend the money, it means giving you your fee is basically a small price to pay for what's going to happen. Small price to pay for what's going to happen. Your job is to make sure that's clear, that it's a small price to pay for what's going to happen. So you've got to get really clear in your language, because if you're not, they won't. They won't get it. So until you're positioning for that and making it really clear for people what that value is, that's stacking up. It will not stack up. So here's a simple way to do that. And you're not going to like this, but it's going to make your life easier. So for most people, their challenge is they're doing too much, they're offering too much, they're talking to too many people, and so their value gets muddled. It gets muddled in their own minds, in your minds, and it gets muddled in their audience's minds. If I help lawyers get clients on LinkedIn, and I was a solopreneur, now bearing in mind, Maverick is the largest social selling training company in the world. But if I was just solopreneur Dean, the best way for me to make money at high margin, with least friction, with best conversion, would be to position myself as the go-to expert for lawyers trying to acquire new clients on LinkedIn. That would be the sweet spot for me as a solopreneur. But I'm not a solopreneur. I have a team of about 30 people full time working in the business. I've got sales teams, I've got other trainers and coaches. And so I can afford to flex. If you're a solopreneur consultant or expert, you cannot afford to flex, because every time you add another service offering, another persona in there, you actually have more audience, more problems to solve, more offers. And the risk is you can't land your message because you're trying to speak to two different groups with two different situations, two different scenarios. So I always say to people, if anybody's been to one of my workshops, you will see that one of the things I say is, from today, you're going to go away from this workshop for the next 3 months. Sure, you can have three different personas, three different target audiences, three different services you offer. But for the first 3 months, to eliminate as many variables that could get in the way, eliminate as much confusion as possible, go with the 5 ones. Pick one major problem and have a service to do it. Then pick the audience who fits that problem the most, values that problem the most. Now build your message, your profile, your content, your whole strategy for LinkedIn around that problem, the offer, and the audience. That's a message that will resonate. So you'll cut through the noise. Your content will resonate. It's not going to go viral, but it will be like, oh my God, Dean's speaking to me. Oh my God, you're speaking to me. It's like you understand us. It's like you know what we're going through. That's where you need to be, because that positions you now as an expert when you can actually articulate the problems that the target audience are seeing, feeling, and it's almost like you're a fly on the wall in their office. That is when your authority goes up and they trust you to have the solution. So simplification is probably the easiest way to get going. Not probably, is. Absolute, is. So you won't like that. I didn't like that. Do you know, for years, I did not want to be called a LinkedIn person. Hated it, because I felt like I was belittling myself. I know email, I know event marketing, I know sales, I know all these different things. But I realized, like, 8, 9 years ago, I can't cut through saying I'm the email guy, the sales guy, the LinkedIn guy, the this guy, the that guy, the couldn't cut through. And then I went, "Do you know what? We're just gonna do this." And that's when it went poof, literally grew really fast because the message could cut through. It was clear. The value got clearer. And that's what this 5 ones really is. It's about making the value clearer for the target audience. If you have too many if I change these to 3 problems, 3 offers, 3 audiences, 3 messages, and 3 processes, not only are you overwhelmed, your audiences are confused. All 3 of them are confused because the message gets mixed. That's why I'm saying it. So I'm not saying like, I've got a consultancy project. I'm going to an event in June. I'm flying out to Arizona to speak at a conference of school leaders. School leaders don't use LinkedIn, but they like some of the stuff I talked about in one of my workshops about content. So I'm doing a workshop on content. Things come to you because you're focused. So I've got clients talking to me about web projects. I had a company from Ireland I spoke to today. They were struggling to find and target people in London. So you get all different projects come your way, but that focus allows you to cut through and you'll get more revenue faster. And then, of course, you can also get to that point of going, do you know what? I'm making good money now from LinkedIn. I've got reliability, I've got predictability. Maybe I should invest some money, some of the profit from that, and get some help. That makes more sense to me. And it makes more sense to you. But this fear of cutting a bit of ourselves off or focusing in one place is terrifying because we think there must be a right up. There's a quote from Rory Sutherland. I love Rory Sutherland. If you go and hunt him down on social media and follow him. But one of the things he said is human beings like to assume that there's a right answer and a wrong answer. There's lots of answers. And as long as you're looking for one thing, or as long as you're thinking that um, there's one place to be, you basically cause yourself no end of problems. So weirdly, what we try and do is if we go into this one, we fear losing in the many. We fear the loss of if I was speaking to everybody, all my target audience, I would basically win. When actually the opposite is true. If I speak to one, I can cut through. And like I said at the end, it's not going to be working perfectly on day one. You've got to stick to it and figure out how do I resonate with this audience? How do I convert this audience? But we're terrible at going, well, actually, I'm fear losing. So what I'll do is I'll not invest anywhere properly because I'd rather spread myself thinner and hope something works. Yeah, that's not the way to approach it. So 5 ones is the way to get going. So if you've been on LinkedIn for a while, yeah, and believe me, I don't know who's watching here. I have no idea. And I'm telling you, if you've not been getting success on LinkedIn, the first thing you do is strip everything back and go after one problem, one offer, one audience, one message, one process. Do that first, get that working, and expand out. So, a couple of other things before we get into the tactics a little bit more. You, I've mentioned this already. Sell them what they want, not what they need. That's the perspective. So look and map out from your audience what what are the root cause problems? Root cause problems. The real issues. So mine's message and process. That's what's really going on for most people. Bad process, bad message. Whether that be content, the way they're selling what they do. Bad message, bad process. That's usually what it is. So that's what I do. That's the root cause. But nobody cares about the root cause. Most of my target audience do not care about the root cause. What they want is leads and they want clients. So I will say, I will help you get leads and clients. And I'm teaching today into message and process and saying message and process is the key. But I'm leading with getting clients, leads and clients, pipeline, leads and clients. So you have to lead with what they want. So you have to really get into their heads and think about what do they actually want. And usually that's looking at what's going on in their day to day. How is that root cause issue, no process, bad message, how is that showing up? Because our ideal targets will probably be trying to treat the symptoms, not the root cause. So we speak to the symptoms and sell the solution to the root cause, because if you fix the root cause, you get rid of the symptoms. So often your target audience are trying to treat the symptoms, not the major underlying issues. Very few clients will be trying to treat the root cause. And when they are very late down the buying journey. They are all the way down and they will buy from somebody they trust. So you lose nothing by going, let's let's sell them what they want and deliver what they need. Yeah, because if you deliver a solution to the root cause, you fix the symptoms. Then you need a sticky message. And I'll show you this. Uh, my profile is aligned to win clients on LinkedIn, win clients on LinkedIn, win clients on LinkedIn, win clients on LinkedIn. Because I want you to remember and associate me with that. Building expert authority, building a brand is about association. What do you want to be associated with? And in a short attention span world, you can't be associated with lots and lots of things. You have to associate yourself in terms of like a catchphrase or slogan to say, this is what I do. And hold it and say it and repeat it and rant it and say it and say it and say it and say it. And it can't be like, I help people build unique, bespoke, tailored solutions, because that means nothing. It means nothing. It's got to be something that they would say, language that your audience would say. Now, I put the word win on it just so it's a little bit different, and I use that word all the time, but it's win clients on LinkedIn, win clients on LinkedIn, win clients on LinkedIn, win clients on LinkedIn. I am focused on a problem. People need leads, they need clients on LinkedIn. I know how to fix that with message and process. Message and process. So, and the singular focus. So let's have a look at the pipeline piece for a moment. And if some of you are asking questions, I haven't got double screen properly today. So if you're asking questions, I will reply to all the comments on the session here. So please feel free to reply. And I'm going to show you some of the things that I do on LinkedIn. So path to pipeline. So I call this signal. I've kind of already unpacked this. So I'm not going to spend any time here really, but it's just remembering we're operating in seconds. So we have to make our value very, very clear quickly and easily. People have to get it quickly. We have to pick an audience that has high buying intent. In other words, they have a problem and that problem is big enough that will motivate them to act. We have to resonate, and that's about talking in the language and from the buyer's perspective. And then we need a process to build the trust and convert it. If we don't have these pillars in place, tactics are not going to save you, right? Tactics don't save anything. So here's the 5 different paths. I want to talk a little bit about them for a moment, and then I'm going to give you a quiz. I'm going to wrap up in a few minutes and give you a quiz. And the quiz will ask you about, I think it's about 14 questions. You can do it in about 2 minutes. It'll ask you a couple of questions about how you sell, what you sell. It'll ask you for your profile URL, and it will analyze what you're saying and recommend which of these paths are best for you. Most people think the only way to get clients on LinkedIn is to either message people or post like crazy. There's a load of things you can do. So first off, LinkedIn newsletters and email list. You can build quite quickly off LinkedIn an inner circle of audience, people who trust you for insights using either a LinkedIn newsletter or an email. LinkedIn newsletter is almost algorithm proof, so it protects you from the changes in the algorithm and allows people to hear your thought leadership and insights. And there are opportunities where you can talk and start conversations, but it drives inquiries and leads. So if you've never seen a LinkedIn newsletter before, I'll show you one just quickly, because I know time is short today. But if I just go onto LinkedIn and go to newsletter, I will show you here. So here's my LinkedIn newsletter. Yeah, and you can see, I've been doing it now for 3 years, 3, 4 years, um, and I've got 31,300 subscribers to my LinkedIn newsletter. All of these people have subscribed to hear my insights on winning on LinkedIn. Now, my audience is quite broad because of my business, but if you were smaller, you could create a very niche newsletter. It may not go viral, it may not get 31,000, but if you were a helping lawyers and you got 500 lawyers signed up, that would be incredibly powerful. So again, the reason why this works is aligning it with the message, aligning it with your offer. Then we talk about conversion content. Now, conversion content, what you will see in the feed from a lot of people who do what I do is they will have this, whether it's explicit, but the philosophy will be, if you just post and go viral, you will get leads and clients. It's not true. It's true for me because I'm operating in a LinkedIn bubble. I'm selling LinkedIn on LinkedIn, for God's sake. So of course it's going to work for me. But if you're selling cybersecurity, going viral to get clients is probably not going to work. If you're selling, I don't know, executive coaching, going viral is not going to get you clients, right? And if you look at the viral posts, they're either usually very broad and generic, motivational fluff, or you look in the comments and it's a whole load of gurus all interacting with each other to amp each other's posts up. It's insane. But we're addicted to that, approval we get. Conversion content is lower, might not go viral, but what it will do is build your authority and it will drive leads. And last week, I shared in the live one of my favorite conversion posts. It's called a wow post. Builds your authority, but it actually drives inbound leads. They never go viral because they're a bit more salesy. Here's this one I did 2 days ago. Wow post. Look, 1,400 impressions. Not very good, really. Not very good. But not as good as this one, which did 106,000. Woohoo! Did I go any leads from this one? Nope. But I got visibility. So there is a merit to having the variety of content, but actually this post is worth way more to me. This post made me money. So that's what you have to think about with conversion content. Now, I wouldn't recommend personally going with the conversion content straight away. And the reason why I wouldn't recommend it is because you have to learn what messaging works. And so if you're going down that route from day one, do you really want to be waiting for revenue whilst you're trying to figure out what that works? With a newsletter, it's much easier than conversion content. Now, the events and webinars, you probably guessed, you're seeing me do one right now. I've been doing these for 6 years. 6 years, over and over and over again. There's a clue why I'm doing them. I'm building massive trust. If you've been here for 45 minutes, you've heard from me. You either think I talk sense or you think I'm weird. You either trust me more from coming or you don't. So an event like this is a great filter. It's a great authority building and trust building thing because you're seeing me talk in real time. I'm live right now. This is not pre-recorded. So you're actually getting to know me as a human being. You're getting to sense how I work and what I think like, and that builds massive trust. And some of you will message me today and say, Dean, I'd love to know more about how I can work with you, and I'll chat with you and see how I can help if I can. So over the course of doing this for 6 years, I've generated 125,000 leads. And in that time, my revenue on LinkedIn is just over $6 and a bit million. $6 and a bit million. And of that $6 and a bit million, 70% of the people who bought have been to 2 of my LinkedIn events. 2. There's a reason why a lot of creators and LinkedIn gurus are starting to do events, by the way. I'm just 6 years ahead of them because they've been obsessed with content, and now that suddenly they're realizing actually it's hard to make money from this content, they're flipping to events. So events and webinars are a great way, trust building, authority building, but actually client winning as well. Now, if you're a salesperson or you want to do a bit more one-to-one, you need to do what we call relationship-led selling, which is more about building up a cadence of interactions before you make any ask. LinkedIn is a social platform, and so doing that social interaction really makes a difference. So a series of actions to warm the relationship, build some trust, and then start a conversation. It's very, very simple. But for most experts, this is not something you want to do. You'd rather do something more at scale, which is why the newsletter and the events and webinars and the content tends to be the things that your kind of subject matter experts lean on. And then the final one that I recommend, again, more to salespeople or business owners who are salespeople, more sales focused, is hyper targeted prospecting. And this is the sniper approach to outreach. It's not machine gun like most people are doing, it's sniper. Hyper targeted, well researched, very personal, 100% unique, and it gets the best conversion rate of any activity. A lot of people are lazy with outreach and they try and do one to many, and it doesn't work as well because it's not designed. Human beings don't like being treated like a number. People coming to this event now, they're coming to the event and going, what's in it for me? But they realize they're coming to something where other people are watching. When you're in the inbox, it feels it's a negative if they feel like, actually, I'm just a number. I'm just another person they've sent the message to. So that's why it works. When everybody's going to templates and AI and bots, going really ultra human, really well researched, just feels better. It feels like a better option. So what these allow you to do is you pick one of those paths. So the quiz I'm going to put up on screen in a second, pick one of those paths so you can master it and make sure it fits your preference. Everybody loves the sniper outreach because who would not want a 10%, 15% meeting booking rate? Who would not want to send 7 or 8 outreach messages and get 2 calls booked? Who would not want to do that? But if you're not comfortable doing that, even though you like the idea of the result, when it comes to the crunch, you're not going to do it. So you need to find a path that works for you. That's why the quiz is important. Next, you need to build a process around that. What am I doing? What day? How am I doing it? If you don't build a process, it will take, what is it, Parkinson's law or Murphy's law? I can't remember which one it is. The work will grow to the time you allocate to it. So if you don't allocate a limit of time, it will grow and consume your life. There's a reason why a lot of people waste a lot of time on LinkedIn. So you need to build a process so you can do it efficiently and quickly. Most people do not need to spend more than half an hour a day on their pathway to pipeline to actually get results. It's all the other stuff that they do that wrecks it. And they go, oh, what shall I do today? Shall I go and scroll on LinkedIn? Shall I, oh, I'm engaging with cat videos. And oh, I went over here. That's where it goes. People fall over. They get sucked into LinkedIn, do a load of random stuff, and it doesn't compound into anything beneficial. Which is the other thing of you also need to stop trying all the gimmicks. How much time have you wasted on gimmicks? Like, oh, this little secret message strategy. It's not secret. It's just their packaging, right? Or try this, try that, try the other. So you don't want to do that. You want to stop doing all that stuff. So here's the quiz. I want you to do this quiz because let me see if I can move myself out the way. There we go. I want you to do the quiz. I don't know, because I don't know who's watching, which is the best path for you. You have to figure that out based on your preferences, your business, your industry, because there is no one size fits all. Sure, I can help you build a process around one of those paths. I can help you master it, but you have to decide which path it's on. So grab this QR code. and take the quiz. It will give you the answers. It will give you a score for each one. So it'll show you the score for each one and allow you to figure out which is the best path for you. So I'm going to wrap up. I'll leave the QR code on screen. Do the quiz, and you know, you can screenshot the QR code if you're on a phone. Screenshot the QR code or screenshot the screen, and you know, you can take a picture with your phone, or you can on Apple, I think you can scan it or press it, and it does it. But it will get you to that quiz that will help you find the right path and tell you your score, and then it'll give you a little write-up about each of the paths as well. Right, I'm going to sign off. I'll leave the QR code up for a few minutes so that you've got it. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for all the support you give me on my content. Appreciate you. Appreciate what you do. And have a great weekend.